Hey, everybody. Happy Monday and welcome to Act 3 on CHLY 101.7 FM. Delighted to be with you today. Thank you so much for joining us. I've got a very special group of chicks in the Zoom booth with me today. These women have been an absolute inspiration to all kinds of charities all over Gabriola Island. And they've done it a little bit differently. They've decided to bear it all and find their wings. And it's a spectacular, spectacular concept. So with me in the booth are four fabulous women. I'm going to get them to introduce themselves. And we'll get started right now. Thanks for joining us. How are you?
Good, doing great.
Good. Who wants to go first on the introduction and tell us a little bit about how all of this came together?
Oh, my name is Carrie Ann Marshall, and I joined these ladies just a month ago to help them with some marketing for the calendar, and I'm also one of the ladies in the calendar. So it's been an exciting go for us.
Yeah, I guess I probably should have started the opening by letting people know that you've created a calendar, right? That's part of the premise about all of it. You guys are known as the fairy goddesses, I believe, of Gabriola Island. Amy, can you tell us a little bit about how all that started?
Goddess mothers.
Oh, sorry, fairy goddess mothers. Amy, would you like to tell us a little bit about how you got started in all this?
Okay. Um, the creator of this calendar was a very good friend of mine, and we talked a lot about the possibilities. She always had big things going on,
Yeah.
public books and creating visual artwork, and we talked about the possibility of this calendar that would include older women, older meaning over 50. That
Mhm.
was only criteria that was necessary. You needed to be over 50. You did not have to be a parent. So the mother's thing is a different definition
Of
altogether.
course, it's a metaphor for sure.
And in the conversation, I thought, oh my goodness, that's pretty big. I'm in.
So for our listeners, I think it's a good idea for them to know that you guys actually, Dorothy Engst, who was the founder of the fairy mother goddesses, feather goddess mothers. How are we doing that? I got to make sure I get that right. Fairy goddess mothers. She was a very inspirational woman who decided that women shouldn't feel shame about their bodies and about the wonderful things that we've done with our bodies over years. So she sort of went to the community, I believe, and said, hey, you guys, how comfortable are you feeling about being buck naked? And how can we make this pretty? So, Monica, give us a little thought about that.
Think buck naked because really the idea came when we had a buck moon ceremony
Uh-huh.
back in 20, and there was a group of us women putting it together. And when we were all done that, she sat back and she goes, I got this idea. She's like, I think we need to do this calendar, but we need to be naked in it, right? And we all kind of looked at her like, are you like, this is, I don't know. I mean, and she goes, no, we're going to get 50 women and we are going to do this. We're going to get 50 women over the age of 50. You know,
Yes.
when we're aging, right? Like, I mean, some people look at people when they start aging and just don't think anything much more of people anymore, right?
Yeah.
We need to tell people we are alive and we are going to grab the opportunity and just go for it. But I remember sitting around that circle and we were talking about it and she made it happen. She was just so full of life making it happen. So,
It's a bold and brave move. First of all, most women don't want to stand naked in front of their own mirror, let alone be in the forest or in a river or on a lake or on a tree stump. And so what inspired her to kind of go that extra mile? Patty, do you have any insight on that?
Inspired her to go the extra mile. Oh,
Mm-hmm.
she was not well, and she was dealing with a lot of things. And that's what kept her going, really.
Yeah.
She had this project. She always had to have a project.
Yeah.
And I mean, I heard about her projects from the time they started. Like, we kind of, I guess I said to her, I'm your muse. And yeah, and right from the start, before she even talked, like she was talking about, do you remember those women? Was it something? And they did this neat calendar where they were naked, but you really didn't see anything. And she says, I'd like to do something like that. And then we started talking, and then from there, it just built, you know. And the wings were added later, you know. We knew that it had to be in the woods, had to be in, because Gabriola is so beautiful.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, if you're just tuning in to Act 3 on CHLY, we're talking to the fairy goddess mothers of Gabriola Island. And because, of course, we're still in a bit of the COVID nightmare, unfortunately, we are taping this over Zoom, which means the quality of the sound may not be terrific. So please just listen extra closely to some of the most wonderful women on Gabriola Island. We're talking about more than just naked people getting naked. We're talking about the visual, the artistry, and the beauty of women as we mature, right? As we get a little bit older. And there's no part of it that has to do with the catalog, right? That the airbrushing and all of that stuff. This is about tremendously lovely human beings who have and are comfortable in their own skin. And not only that, it's orchestrated with artwork on top. And the artwork is actually showing the fairies, right? It's the wings, it's the little booties, it's like all of the wonderful magical things that you would imagine with fairy, you are going to see in this calendar. You mentioned, Patty, that your sister was quite unwell. We did an article with Nanaimo and Voyager magazine some months ago in August, and it was outlining and sharing this marvelous calendar and from her perspective. On September the 4th, the most beautiful soul passed over. And when she did, there was a lot of concern from so many of us in community who've been really looking forward to seeing this come to fruition. And we wondered, how is it going to happen? What's going to happen next? And so I'm so delighted to bring news to your community, to our communities all over Vancouver Island and the Sunshine Coast, and particularly the pride of Gabriola Island, to show the resilience not only of women as a whole, but this calendar has its own beauty and resilience as well. How does it make you feel to bring this forward?
Oh, um,
Kleenex.
it was a labor of love.
Yes, an absolute labor of love. An absolute labor. I want our listeners to know that there's a lot of emotion in this because it's just been a short time. And Dorothy was an amazing woman. She had courage beyond her size. She was not a big woman. She was a little tiny, tiny woman. And in fact, when she died, I don't think that she weighed more than 60 pounds or 70 pounds. She was so tiny when I saw her, which was a couple of weeks before she passed away. But the gift that she left behind, this is the part that I love. The gift and the messages that she left behind are coming with the fruition of this amazing calendar. And so how long has it been since you started it to where we are today? How long has that calendar been in the works?
Dorothy was planning it for months before she took the first picture. The first
Yes.
picture was in September 2020. And I remember, because I remember we talked so much about it, and she says, okay, we're doing it, you know. And I said, it's too cold. I'm not doing it.
Exactly.
Find people. And she did. And I kind of joined in later on once the weather got warmer on But I wasn't there too much at the start, but I was there to bring it to a finish.
Yes, and you're bringing it home now for sure, without a doubt. But I want to talk actually about the experiences of going out there and bearing it all, right? A dear friend of mine is also in the calendar was telling me that it was so cold on some days that you guys and you're tromping through as a group of women, not just singular, right? It's not a singular photograph. It's all a mutual, many women at the same time. And they're freezing their little knickerdoodles off. So tell us more about that, Amy. How was that for you?
Yeah, thank you. Well, first of all, what Patty said is true. Gabriola is beautiful forests. We have incredible trees, and so many of the photographs were taken in various uh, parks, labyrinths, people's gardens, so outside. Some of them, Kathy, were taken at the beach in
Yes.
February, for instance.
Oh,
Even one of them, and I think it might have been March, was in the water.
Yeah.
yeah.
So
And I'm sorry, but it's Pacific Ocean is not, it is not a warm ocean. It is cold. How did you do it?
how did we do it? We were instructed to come clothed, minimal clothing, maybe wear a robe. And this was all throughout the year.
Yeah.
Wear, some kind of robe that you could just put, or dress or whatever, that you could just quickly take off, throw somewhere else, and then, get into the spot where you're going to have your picture taken.
Yes.
So, yes, we were naked. And my experience only, there was no issues with being naked outside with all the women. It was like no issues at all. And what made it no issue for me was Dorothy promised that we were going to be made up with wings and sparkles, and there wasn't going to be anything showing,
Yes.
that we wouldn't want showing. So it was a very well prepared for us, and it was wonderful to be naked with other women. To tell you the truth, that women, I mean, several of our women have had mastectomies,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
other women were just in their 80s, and we're all and everything in between, and we were all proud. You could feel the pride being around each other naked. It didn't matter. It didn't matter at all. We were there together.
To me, that's so inspiring because women often, as we get a little bit older, I like to think that we become a little bit more evolved, and that plasticity that goes when we're a little bit younger and trying to impress the Joneses and all of that kind of stuff disappears as we age. So our authentic self truly does come out. But what I loved about Dorothy's concept was it's scars and all, right? It was about look at the warrior in us, look at the strength and the resilience and the beauty and the essence of our very being, and it shows page after page after page. Despite feeling so great, were there times when you were at all uncomfortable in your own skin? And if so, what did that feel like for you? And did you come through that? And what did that feel like?
Well, I was very nervous the first time. I did 2 calendar shoots, and fortunately, actually, Monica specifically and Amy both were at my calendar shoots, and they just looked so casual. Like I was like, I don't know if I can do this, but both of them were just like, no, and they were taking off their clothes, and after I did it, I went, why was this a problem? And now I don't want to put them back on.
Yeah.
So,
Can I just add to that a bit too? Because I was at most of the shoots.
yeah.
Because I would set up the positions of the girls and the women, girls.
Always girls, darling.
Really fun. It was like at the beginning when we first did a couple of the shoots, people were a little bit more and let's make sure we got a fern and all this in front of us, and by the middle of the shoots that we were doing, it was just like, hey, look at me. Like it was just like everybody was starting to feel so comfortable within their skin. It was just wonderful because, I mean, a lot of women came up to me and basically said, you know what, I've never skinny dipped. I've never done
Yeah.
anything in my life. And then, you know, and it was really trying to calm them, just say, you know, it's going to be great. It's going to be, you know, we're going to do it quick. And hey, it's going to be liberating, right? Like, it's going to be so much fun. And they did. Everybody afterwards was like, this was the best experience I've had.
Yeah.
You know? Bear it all and just, hey, this is who I am.
I love just even the part of this is who I am, because, you know, I'm a prude. I know I am, right? You know, I think of when I go out, I'm always careful, like how low is my blouse and how whatever. But yet when I'm with women, I don't feel that way. I feel like, what the heck? Like, you know, you've seen one pair of goodies, you've seen them all, right? Like there's a, I have a really much more open view of it. But I also know that there's that level that you were speaking of, Carrie, in the very beginning of like, you know, I was really nervous in the beginning, but you're without judgment with your family, your friends, and your peers, right? And what was that for you as a big picture? Like, did it like it was more than just the shoot? It's changed your life. How?
It really has changed my life, honestly. I actually come from a long line of prudes and many genetics. So you know, it really was nerve-wracking for me, but it has changed my life in that I no longer am really worried about what people think about my body. And you know, you can see little bits of rolls and a little side view, and you know, I thought that's okay, that's great, that's who I am now, and there's nothing wrong with that. So it was a big change for me, I can honestly say.
Yeah, and I totally get it, because I think at the end of the day, we're, you know, as we get older, we're supposed to be different than we were when we were 20, right? Our boobs are supposed to look different. We've nursed children, many of us, not all, but many, right? Others have, you know, they've just born so many autoimmune diseases, or as your sister did, she had a terrible, terrible condition, Patty. Can you talk a little bit about her health, actually, as we're sort of unbreaking this open and moving forward in this celebration of life?
It took a while for Dorothy to be diagnosed with what she had. She just started losing weight, and her feet and hands were very inflamed, and there was just a lot of things that started happening to her. Everything tightened up, and it took a long time before they found out what it was. She had test after test after test, and then finally,
I'm sorry, we didn't hear what she had. Could you repeat that one more time? She had,
test after test after test
right.
done. Right? They were trying to figure out, why is this happening? And so finally, a doctor said, I wonder if it's this. And they did a biopsy on her wrist and diagnosed it, and it was something called eosinophilic fasciitis.
Wow.
All the fascia were just tightening up and hardening in her body, and your body's full of fascia.
Yeah.
And
When I saw her, when we talk about fasciitis, for those people that may not know, it's that membrane of skin between your skin and your organs, at that very fine tissue. And when I saw her, I noticed that her hands had almost frozen. Like she had a very difficult time manipulating the computer. She had a very difficult time, you know, doing, and she was still so spunky. Like, yeah, I mean, the woman had more spirit than anybody I think I've ever met. Like completely, she had beautiful blue hair, and she had attitude, and I just loved her energy. I loved her energy. But one of the things I loved about it was that she just took people for who they were. She made no judgment. It's like, these are people that are amazing, and I want to share this experience with them. And it really was for the right reasons. How has the community adjusted to her passing? Or have they yet?
Good question.
good question. I don't know.
Well, we did have a celebration of life on just past Saturday.
Uh-huh.
It was I don't. Yeah, you do know what
It was
Saturday.
during the storm,
It
but
was
it was
During
appropriate.
the storm.
If Dorothy was going to have a celebration of life, we're going to remember it.
Of course. Of course. She was like that anyway in life, right?
And it was very beautiful. I mean, it was 4 hours and people just came in and out. During the time that I was there, I'm going to say there were at least 50 people, maybe.
Yeah.
And just people talking to each other, making sure to connect with Dorothy's kids and partner and sisters and brothers and so on. Uh, yeah, I wasn't there for the ceremony with the fire, but if somebody was,
It
please.
wasn't really a ceremony.
It was just people to write
People
their,
just
Yeah.
wrote to Dorothy and put them in the fire.
Yes.
And the part, they had a slideshow later.
Mm-hmm.
It was very good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And played her favorite music throughout and everybody was, like, it's everybody's favorite. Right?
Yeah. Well, she
A lot of people on Gabriola know Dorothy, not just as the mother of the fairy goddess mothers, but when Dorothy came to Gabriola, she began the health food store. Isn't this true?
yes.
Later, after,
Yeah.
after she'd been on Gabe for a
Yes,
while.
yes. She started this incredible health food store, and I really mean it. It is incredible,
Mhm.
providing very affordable um, supplements and vitamins and all kinds of products that usually would cost a lot more because it comes on a ferry.
Mhm. Yeah, for sure.
I mean, I love those people in there, and I talk to them all the time, but they don't hike the prices.
Yeah.
That's really significant on Gabriola, and that's partly that I think that was partly Dorothy's thing. So a lot of people, you ask about how the community is responding. Many people are saddened by Dorothy's being gone.
She also was really knowledgeable about so much of that stuff too. So it was, not just owning it, she lived it, she walked it, she was very much a part of the whole process. So, for herself, when she decided to get this calendar together, it was about contributing to community. So who are some of the charities that this calendar will support?
Pet Friends, is that what it's called? Pet Friends? Growls, Salt. Will you continue?
the museum. There is the Haven Society in Nanaimo, which is
Yeah.
a shelter. So a number of Gabriola.
GAC.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
the Arts
The Lions.
Council, the Lions Club,
Oh, the Lions Club, definitely.
Cats Alive.
local cat rescue, Pet Friends that helps local pets.
12 in all.
12 in
This
all.
is a test. We're having
Yeah,
to
we're having a
remember
test.
them
We
all.
should
This is good though. It's really good. And it's actually a perfect segue for me to remind our listeners to wrap up or to find themselves, wrap themselves up really nice and warm and get really cozy, but make sure you have a piece of paper and a pen beside you because you're going to want to know how to order this calendar, because this calendar, it is a fundraiser. It is designed to help a number of different of agencies on Gabriola, a couple as well in Nanaimo. So it's important that we try and let people know that they can get this calendar, and it's fabulous, right? It's so beautifully done. Can you tell us a little bit about who did the artwork?
Ta-da.
Names Danielle. What's her last name?
Danielle Noel? Noel? Is it Danielle Noel?
She did the cover and September and Dancing Around the Moon in October.
Mm-hmm.
And then she had a family emergency, so she couldn't finish. So then I did the rest.
I've had the luxury of seeing many of the pictures. I haven't seen the full calendar yet. I have ordered mine. I will let you know. It's on its way. When it comes through and it's ready from print, I get one. And I'm encouraging everybody to order one as well. They're only $25, like $25. Will they be available before Christmas? Can people order them as gifts?
Yes, they're actually, we have them in hand now, and people that are picking up on Gabriola are picking
I've
them
started
up as
today.
we speak.
Yes.
Yeah, today's the first day for pickup for people on Gabriola. And then we will be mailing out Monday and Tuesday of next week to anybody that's ordered online.
Fantastic.
Afterwards,
Yeah.
they just have to go onto our website, Gabriola, what is it,
It's
Fairy Goddess Mothers of Gabriola,
fairygoddessmothers.com.
yeah.
No, just Fairy
Fairy-
Goddess Mothers.
Yeah, but if you
Fairygoddessmothers.com.
there we go.
Fairygoddessmothers.com. So let's write that down, everybody. www.fairygoddessmothers.com. Do you guys have Facebook presence as well?
You do?
Yes, we do.
Okay. And fairy is spelled Faerie.
Faerie, Goddess Mothers. Because we're all over 50 in this, right? I'm not in it. I had when I was talking to her, I was thinking, I wonder if I could be brave enough to do that. And I'm sure I probably could, but I don't live on Gabriola, so it was okay.
I think just talking about the donations, the charities,
Yes.
it's 100%.
Yeah. Oh, yes.
Okay, that's really important. When a person buys a calendar, yeah, 100%
Proceeds,
goes
the
to
proceeds, 100% of the
apart from
proceeds.
shipping
Yeah.
costs, apart
Yeah.
from the costs of shipping, everything else is going to the charities because the previous expenses plus the printing has been paid for.
Well, I'm so delighted that was, and I believe, Patty, that was a contribution that you made, was to get the printing done and supported in community. Is that right? Yeah, fantastic. So $25 is the cost of the calendar. It's about $5 in shipping. When I ordered mine locally, I live in Nanaimo, it was like $5, so just over $30, you have arguably one of the prettiest pieces of art you will ever have. It's also so beautifully done that you could, if you want to, when you finish with the calendar, you can frame some of those pieces and have them as delightful renditions in your home, because it's magical. I can't say it enough. It's magical. It is such a beautiful work of art. On top of it being so brave by 50 women over the age of 50. Who was the youngest person that was there and who was the oldest? Doesn't mean, I'm not worried about names so much, but age wise, like.
Who's that?
Yeah, so the youngest was 50.
Yeah, just
Youngest,
turned
50, and then the oldest was 83. Yeah.
83. I mean, how amazing is that? Right? Do you think that each one of you learned something different from the process, or do you think you had a collective learning as well?
I think there's, oh, sorry. I think there's a collective learning from it, and I think the learning is that we are a community, and
Yeah.
that we for each other, and be there for each other, and accept each other.
Yeah, community is so important. Absolutely.
And I have to say that, see, I wasn't very involved in it. It was like Dorothy's thing. We talked about it, but it was Dorothy's thing. And since she passed, then I have seen exactly that.
Yeah, it's emotional. It's more than just a calendar. It's a legacy. It's a legacy for all the women that participated, and a legacy for all of us to look forward to do. Who have you ever had mentors in your life as women that you wanted to rise, or have you considered yourself now, because of this, a mentor?
That's a great question.
That's a great question. Yeah.
I've had several really good mentors just throughout my life when I was working that got me to the next stage, and that were, that I think back on and see them all. Yeah.
And I know it's probably a cliche, but I think in retrospect, Dorothy was a huge mentor, because we didn't know each other. I didn't know many people. I've only been on Gabriola for a few years. And going to this calendar shoot really did change things for me, but also wanting to help afterwards. The ladies had already started, and they were doing all kinds of stuff and pre-selling the calendar. and I was lucky enough to have some time, so I've gotten to know these gals, and I think in a lot of ways there's a legacy that continues from this because I found friends that I didn't have before, and we're doing something that none of us probably would have been sitting in the same room if this hadn't happened. So I think a big change.
Yeah, for sure.
People from different walks of life, right? I mean, different types of careers, business people to a firefighter, or I mean, all different types of people, and it just kind of unites us all together, right? It connected all of us.
And I have to say that the community that was created as a result of this was really there for Dorothy
Yes.
over the past year. He had major surgery in January this year. And then afterwards, like, stream of food and help and everything for months afterwards was there through the fairy goddess mothers for Dorothy.
And she was at the January shoot, by the way.
Yeah.
So she was unwell and at the shoot anyway.
So there for the
Yeah.
February. Like she didn't miss a shoot.
She
even
was at
with
every
everything.
shoot.
Yeah. Yeah. Again, a testament to her resilience and her ability to say, I'm not my disease. This is not who I am. I am a vibrant, wonderful spiritual being in a physical body that is a little bit pissed off at me at the moment, but that's okay. I'm going to fight on through.
Totally.
Yeah.
Talk about community. What I think about anyway, personally, is everybody who's participating with the same shared vision of the fairy goddess mothers. And we had talked, I know that she had this conversation with many people, just, the fact that there's 8 people during February and, 4 people in May, maybe, and 12 people in another month. When can we all come together?
Yes.
We all come together. And we had talked about it happening probably around now or a month ago, even. Where we would have a party and that happen. And hopefully we're going to be able to do that and get everybody together. It might, yeah, and experience as much as possible everybody else's perspective of how this experience helped create community for them, or what the experience meant for them.
There seems to be a singular thread, though, coming through with each of your voices, right? A singular thread, of empathy and compassion and wisdom, all in kind of one sort of flow. Did you find that almost everybody who participated was like-minded? Was everybody kind of on the same page, or?
Well, it's a huge variety of women.
Yeah, there's a variety of women.
Yeah,
So
I don't want to speak for them.
Yeah.
Actually,
I hear you. I do. Yeah.
Dorothy was really a uniter of people.
Yes,
I
right.
think a lot of people in this calendar didn't know each other.
Yeah,
No, right.
No,
So-
we've met so many people, right?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For sure. For sure.
Well, she definitely had a connection. Like, she definitely was a connection, right? She had that spirit that did bring people together. And again, I remind the listeners that her intelligence was just, I mean, the woman was brilliant in so many ways. She was gentle and kind, and she just simply knew how to relate to people so that they could step outside of their skin, pardon the pun, right? And figure it all out.
And go figure, blue hair.
And go figure with blue hair. I loved her blue hair. I interviewed her years ago on a show that we used to have air. And it was at a time when people were talking about cannabis a lot. And so she brought to Shaw Studios a incredible book that was like this big by that, but with every kind of cannabis there ever was. She was so knowledgeable on herbs and tinctures, not just to do with cannabis, but all of nature's bounty. She just really knew her stuff, which probably made it, having a health food store made all the difference in the world, for sure. In regards to the calendar itself, though, can you each choose a favorite month of the calendar, or was there one, because all of them are so beautiful, all of the pictures are so fantastic, but was there one for you that you liked best and why?
Well, I'll start. I really love the tea picture, and
Yes.
why is and I actually really like all of the pictures, but that one's my favorite because the women just look so delighted to be there. There's just some kind of a magic in these shoots. You can see that people are so thrilled to be there. Women our age aren't usually, childlike and fun. So it's such a different kind of feeling to see all of these lovely mature women who are just thrilled. It's just exciting to me.
I don't know what month it is, but the one with you and you behind the trees.
Oh, yes.
And when I first saw that picture, it was from really far away. And I thought, oh, I don't know what I'm going to do with this. So I brought it in close and cropped it, and it still was good. And the resolution was good enough. But there was no green in it. It was, what kind of trees are those?
Is it out here?
I think it's the alder trees.
They were
Here?
They weren't birch. They look like birch trees.
I don't know
I
what.
think they're
Anyway,
alder.
but they all it just looked like kind of gray, right? And the dirt was like, it was all, and then I started putting the wings on. And then in the end, I decided to make it like an explosion, and in different colors going to each one, and it's my favorite.
I haven't seen that particular picture. I know that I'm going to see it though when my calendar comes. Monica, what was yours?
I mean, I was at pretty well most of the shoots right there. So, but the one there's a couple that I really like, but I would have to pick the one at Whalebone on the beach. And it was just a magical day because it was beautiful, sunny. We have the mountains in the back. And we were making sand castles to try to put certain things that we thought that women can kind of go behind and stuff like that. But and then was it Dar? Yeah, Dar had her accordion and we were playing music down there. And it was so, the women were so alive.
Yeah.
Like it was just so playful there. It was just fabulous. And then when we were finished the shoot, somebody brought a bottle of champagne.
Oh, wow.
So it was just such a fun shoot to do, and the picture is just fabulous. With the music, because you can really feel the music in there too, which is great.
And there was bubbles.
Oh yeah, there's bubbles.
Yeah, and
because of the champagne, right?
Yeah, besides the champagne.
And I wasn't in the shoot of that one because I was hired. I was hired to hold up a sheet. Because
Oh
it was
yeah,
on
that's right. We had
was
a
on a-
group of kids, right?
There was a
There was a group of
It
kids.
was a nature school. They were down their nature that
But you know
Trying to
what?
hide.
They couldn't have cared less. I know because I was holding up the sheet,
That's
and
right, that's
they
right.
were
We
just
forgot
doing
about
their
that,
own thing.
Oh, wonderful. Did you have a favorite shoot though when you weren't holding up the sheet?
I do now that you ask. Yes, I do. I have two actually. One of them, I don't even think it's in the calendar.
Oh,
It's
the one
not.
with the gold wings? Where
The
you
two
think
of
Oh,
us.
were you guys?
I know,
Oh,
yeah.
okay. We're not gonna tell the story. No.
It happened at Drumbag, and it was. I think Dorothy took the picture with her phone, and it was just awesome. So that was good. But it wasn't a shoot picture, The
Yeah.
photo picture that I say was my favorite was taken right outside our door. Because my partner and I built a labyrinth in our property. I mean, this is the yurt, and then we have a labyrinth, and then we have a house too. And it was just so awesome to have all the women here meaningfully, with intention, hiding behind trees, crawling up on stumps. It was
Yes.
just beautiful. So that to me had to be the best for me.
Another reason why people have to purchase the calendar is to visualize the way, the joy, first of all, that you all have in doing this is so apparent. But to see it all come out in fruition, what was your experience like when you first saw the calendar for the first time?
Well, we rushed over to Patty's house or to Monica's house
Yeah.
when we when we found out the proofs were in, that was a huge one because there was that last step before we actually got to see the calendar, and it was the final proofs. And then, but everybody just kind of took off really quick and showed up within 10 minutes when we found out they were in.
And we danced.
We danced, but
And
we
we
did have some
danced.
tears. There was definitely
yeah.
tears, just to say, oh, just
It's done.
Bring it to
And
fruition.
it's done, but it's just like Dorothy's dream, right? Like
Yeah.
it was just like, wow.
It was really
Yeah.
exciting. And then some people couldn't make it, so there were showings of the proofs online on Facebook Messenger just to so that people could see things. And yeah, it's been pretty exciting for us.
No kidding. I mean, just the whole experience from beginning to end sounds like it was just sheer joy. I'm sure that there was some nerves in the beginning, but sheer joy to see the end result. I'm very confident that Dorothy would be so proud of all of you, everyone who participated, to be able to make sure this actual dream is fulfilled. So how can people get the calendar? What do people have to do?
Well, on Gabriola, they will be in various retail stores.
Mhm.
So most of the stores, I'm going to say, will be carrying them, and they can purchase it here.
in Nanaimo, the fig clothing.
Big love.
Right.
Oh, fig
Fig
love,
love.
sorry.
Big Love Clothing. Okay, that's great.
You don't want to go out of your house, you can just do it online through www.faeriegoddessmothers.com.
Love it, love it, love it.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's right, Fearie.
RIE.
I think the FAI one was taken, I believe Dorothy said. Did
So
you
she
yeah.
used the old spelling.
Yes. Yes.
So for people to get this calendar, we've got I will also, for the YouTube subscribers, I will make sure that there's a link that people can just touch that link and go straight onto your website and order it from there. If you were sort of, as you were going through this process, I mean, obviously with Dorothy passing away, that was a real obstacle that kind of came in and just changed the trajectory of how things went. But, it's also been a really strange COVID year. And now there's, at the time of our recording, there is flooding and everything all over BC. It's just one tragedy after another. Has this calendar helped to give you strength in some ways that you never thought you had?
Well, I think so.
Yeah, I mean, I would think so. I mean, when we did this calendar through the peak of COVID times, right?
Yeah.
It gave us so much hope, and it also gave us so much community.
Yes.
Together, that we are together. We're a community, and we can help one another in
Mhm.
anything going through. So I definitely, in that end.
Yeah, there's nothing better than community to come together when we're in crisis, but it's even better when we're not, right? And we're still coming together in the ways that we can. I love that there's always a silver lining in every tragedy, right? No matter what the tragedy is, there's always something that we can gear from. We can't always see it at the time, but there still is almost always something that can come that's positive. And right now, it looks like the positivity of all this is sharing this dream and now making it so available to everyone. Are there quotations or anything like that that have been added to the photos, or is it just the photos and then the pictures? Or sorry, the pictures and then the calendar itself?
The calendar, but on the calendar we have the different moon cycles.
Okay.
Right.
Herbs.
Herbs are on there.
Monthly herb.
Gardening tips. Yeah. So
Yeah.
it's much more than just pictures.
Yes.
When you get to see it.
And all of the extras were created by the fairy goddess mothers, various fairy goddess mothers.
Do you think this is going to be an annual thing for you?
Woo!
Woo! That's a job.
One first.
Well, if we wanted to do it the way Dorothy did it, we're already past the time because we would have had to start in September.
Taking pictures already.
Taking pictures.
Yeah.
But was it hard to pick, because you had a number of shoots, right? So was it hard to choose which pictures were going to go into the calendar and which ones were Is there any leftovers that could potentially be? I'm probably shouldn't go down that road. You're getting your first one on the feet.
They would be, they're just multiple pictures of the same scene, right?
Yeah.
And then you just try to pick one where everybody hopefully is smiling, or the most number of people are smiling, or look, whatever, aren't looking away, or whatever, and that's
Yeah.
how you. Yeah.
Like
Yeah,
a
I would imagine that just the technological side of the cameraing, right? If you've got, a whole bunch of women there and you're trying to get everybody at the same time, that's the expertise of a good camera person. Who took all the pictures?
Well, we had
Deb Dallin.
Diana Green,
Lara took one.
and Lara took it the last one, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So we had
Her
three
daughter Lara.
photographers.
I think most,
Yeah, most of them
were
Deb
Deb Dallin, yeah.
It's really important that we share that, because I want people to know that these are very professional looking photographs. They are stunning. Like, they are absolutely stunning. And with radio, it's not always easy to say just, how fantastic this is, right? It's to get that visual out there as people are driving around in their car listening to our show. I would love for people to sort of really understand that these are magnificent. They're not just pretty pictures. They're magnificent pictures.
And there's a joy that shines out of them. I think, in every one. Yeah. That's what
Yeah, they are special pictures.
They
Definitely.
really are. It's so it's just extraordinary. So listen, ladies, we're coming towards the end of the program already. I know it's hard to believe we're already almost at an hour here, but we're pretty darn close to it. So the first thing I want to do is make sure that everybody who has got their pen and paper at hand has your website address and everything one more time. So I think all four of you should shout it out so that everybody's writing it down.
So www.faeriegoddessmothers.com.
FAERIE.
Brilliant. Brilliant. And these calendars are going to be ready or available all over Gabriola Island. But really, it's a wonderful thing if you can just make sure that you go to the website, order it online, buy a bunch of them, because every single penny, every dime goes right to the charities. And so this is a really wonderful opportunity, not only to share the wealth of women being wonderfully, beautifully, organically exceptional in every way, and you get to help others around you at the same time while looking at beautiful, beautiful photographs on Gabriola Island with the fairy goddess women. I just love it. Fairy goddess mothers. Okay, so having said that, we are coming to my favorite part of the program, which is really where we walk away. I mean, I know that most of this program is really talked about the wisdom, but as you're going ahead with this, as you have said goodbye to your sister with love and grace, and as you have watched this dream come true, what would you want our community to know about your experience in that? What's the takeaway? What's the wisdom in these moments?
I think the wisdom is similar to what Dorothy said, which is we are still alive and we are not invisible. We are active, wonderful women, and
And we are not alone.
We are not alone.
We are not alone.
Yeah,
Much because we're there for each other.
yeah, yeah. I just want people to hear that and just resonate with that, because it is true. Women are amazing, wonderful, beautiful creatures who have gone through and go through so much to support our families. And as we get older, we become more beautiful, not less, but more, with all our bumps and all our rolls and all of our scars and all of our stuff. We just get to be more beautiful people all the way around. And our community depends on us, and we depend on our community to come together in any time, whether it's time of tragedy, time of loss, but always in time of celebrating together. Thank you so much for being a part of this program. I am absolutely delighted that we got to share this time together today. One last time, I need you guys to shout it out, and then we will call it for today's program. How do people find you?
www.faeriegoddessmothers.com. mothers.com.
FAERIE.
Faerie.
Faerie. All right, everybody, go order your calendar. Order it today. Order it now. This is a call to action. Go spend the 25 bucks on the shipping cost. Make sure that you have one under your tree for every woman that you love, because I gotta tell you, women need to see each other in this beautiful, beautiful format. You have been listening to Act 3 on CHLY 101.7 FM. Our gratitude for all of our listeners for coming to hear what we have to say. And we're super glad that we also get to share it on Shaw Spotlight. So look for these beautiful women on our program coming up on Act 3 very, very soon. You can also, of course, watch this program over and over and over again and share it with all your buddies and subscribe and like it and do all those cool things to all your friends on Act 3 Media Productions, a YouTube channel. So please make sure that you go there and subscribe. Once again, have an absolutely marvelous day. Thanks everybody for tuning in. We'll see you next time on Act 3.
Thank you.
Thanks everybody.